What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Going the Distance MMA. Today we're doing betting and predictions for PFL Dubai. This is a pretty sick card I'm looking forward to. CJ, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, really looking forward to it. Really good card. It's on in the morning. And one of the fights we'll talk about later on the card's probably the fight of the year for me in terms of talent. So really looking forward to it.
Me as well. Starting off, we have a matchup which a lot of these fights I notice are kind of one-sided. This is certainly one of them. This at 185. This is Hader Khan at minus 800, fighting Joni Gregory at plus 550. What do you think here?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we could run through a lot of these quick. I think Khan's probably fine here. Like I know you don't love Hyder Khan minus 800. Like any of these PFL Mana guys, PFL Europe guys for the most part, other than a select few, aren't usually great. But I mean, this dude's big for the division. You know what I mean? Has good front kicks, solid teeps. He's coming off a win over Sean McCormick, who isn't like the highest level fighter, but there's things that you could like there. He was able to strike into takedowns. He's able to get cage control. Good elbows in close. And then the Mustafa Nada fight, I believe, where he front kicked him and broke his arm was pretty crazy. I remember I was watching that live. But yeah, he's just like your typical, like, I would say generalist. Like, he definitely will go for takedowns, but is comfortable striking. I think he can be burnt on output. You know what I mean? If it gets extended and stuff. Like, he lost this, I think he won a split over a guy. He won it back in like 2024, and he was 4-4. In a fight where it just went tit for tat all night. But yeah, here I just don't think this Gregory guy is very good. Like he's been KO'd in all four of his losses, or he's been KO'd in four of his five losses. He does have like an opportunistic submission game. He's like your typical Brazilian banger. Like will strike on the feet, has solid enough takedowns. He showed good ground and pound against Luis, where he landed a bunch of really good elbows on top. But man, I just don't see him taking Khan down. And again, Khan, although he's low output, definitely has enough power to put this guy away. So give me Hyder Khan. What about you?
I agree. Feels pretty one-sided. Khan should be longer, much cleaner record, six-fight win streak, which is good. Does tend to take some guys to decision, but the way he does it, I don't hate too much. As you mentioned, good on the feet, really good kicks on the outside with that rear leg. Solid takedown entries in his last, good control when he got there. Gregory on the other side, chin could be a huge problem. As you mentioned, KO'd in four out of his five. In his last fight, KO'd by Tangana, that giant other man. Dude, absolute bruiser. Struggled on the feet there. Shouldn't be facing the same kind of raw power, but probably more technical threat here. I think he's super live to get KO'd at any point. I mean, this could go to decision, but I wouldn't expect it to. I would imagine a finish is coming at some point here. For me, no action here because of the price tag, but I see Khan as well. Next fight we have at 205. This is Ahmed Sami at plus 550 versus Khabib Nabiev at minus 800. Surprise, surprise for this one. I think Khabib is the play. Who would have guessed? Sami 12-4. He is 1-0 in PFL, 1-0 in Octagon, won one of his last two. Some impressive wins on his resume. Yusri Belgarui is an impressive name that I like. Beat him. Omar El Dafrawi, that's another dangerous guy on the Middle Eastern scene. Beat him twice. He's won all three ways, mostly by knockout. Lost all three ways. I don't think Sami's gonna be able to keep up on the feet here, which is where he has the best chance. But I don't think he's gonna be. I don't think he'll keep up. I think that on the ground, any submission offense that is normally a good part of his game will be almost completely nullified. Khabib Nabiev, he's 11-0, 5-0 in Eagle FC, 3-0 in UAE Warriors. He is a finisher. His striking style on the feet, he is pretty good on the feet. It's more of a boxing style that I noticed. I will say that he does have that expected wrestling control submission game that you would anticipate facing here. I do see a submission most likely coming from Nabiev at some point. Certainly the win. Same thing for me here. Price tag, it'll be fun to watch. What do you think?
Yeah, no. So I'm gonna have to agree. I think to start on the Khabib Nabiev side, like he is your typical daggy, but like you said, he has more of a boxing stance than a lot of them. A lot of them have like that combat sambo stance. But I actually like that here. He does like I noticed he throws really good boxing combinations into takedowns. And man, when he gets on top of you, like he throws a ton of good ground and pound. Like he has that head and arm choke against Ribeiro in a UAE Warriors, which you talked about. He seems very heavy on top. I was annoyed I couldn't find his last fight against that Russian guy who he knocked out. I don't know if you were able to find it online, but I was like so curious to see. Right? I know it sucks, but if he got it on the ground, if he got it on the ground or standing. But I mean, I think it's pretty clear here that he has a huge grappling advantage. Like you said, Sammy has to keep it on the feet to kind of clip him with something, which I don't see. And also, Sammy has shot a ton of takedowns in his own fight. I don't think he's the most comfortable striking, especially if someone's pressuring him with boxing combinations. Um, and yeah, like you said, he fought good guys, like especially good guys on like the MENA and the Middle Eastern regional scene. Like he lost to Tom Breeze, who a lot of people will know him, my boy. But I don't know. I don't know. I just think Nabiev gets on top at some point and gets the submission.
I would agree
Hot
going
take.
into the
Hot
next
take.
fight. Surprise. Um, the next fight, this one should be fun. This is one
Banger.
that I'm looking forward to watching. This is at 205, Luke Trainer minus 230, Rob Wilkinson plus 195. What do you got here?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say I am very biased. I love Luke Trainer ever since I watched him fight in Bellator. Like this guy seems to be the goods. He reminds me a lot of like an RDR in terms of frame because he's gigantic for the division. He probably has better striking defense than RDR. But yeah, like gigantic for the frame, insanely good grappler, man. Like very hard to take down because of his size. He will use his. He's got very good straight weapons like lead teep kick, good right hand, obviously good jab. But man, where he really shines is in the clinch and cage wrestling. Like he's taken really good guys down. Um, like I think Grant Neal, he fought Grant Neal where he was way bigger, but Grant Neal can wrestle. He never really got any close, and he made him pay every single time. Coming in, good knees, good elbows, just seems to be the full package. Submitted Sullivan Cully, who has had a pretty good career in the PFL. He just lost to Carlos Jr. right in the final. And yeah, he's fought good enough guys. Could grapple for days. And Wilkinson on the other hand, like I was there when he beat Omar Akhmedov for the title, but I just don't think he's the same guy. Like I think the red flag for me was Phil Davis is a good fighter, but getting finished by him is like almost unheard of. I can't even tell you the last time Phil Davis has had a finish. It might have been in the UFC. That's how long ago it was. But the fight against Josh Savelia was horrible. Like nothing really happened. It was pretty boring. A lot of Savelia fights are like that. But he's pretty well rounded, like good enough striker. Will go into the clinch and shoot his own takedowns. Solid takedown defense. But I don't know. I just think Trainer kind of has him outgunned everywhere, and I expect again Trainer to get a takedown and get a sub at some point. What about you?
So Wilkinson, I think he's certainly good.
Yeah.
19-4, as you saw. He did lose his last two. He is a finisher, loses by KO and decision. He did get KO'd by Israel Adesanya early in his career, must say.
Hmm.
Kind of wild. Definitely more experienced than Trainer in terms of like high level opponents, in my opinion. But interestingly enough, never been submitted. Undeniably dangerous. Like he certainly does hit hard, and you can't take that away from him. But what I will say on the feet is I don't love him defensively on the feet. I think he's very open to counters, and on the feet is where I think like supposedly he would be safest here. And even on the feet, I think he's super open to counters and like don't even get me started on the ground. For Luke Trainer, 9-1, went 6-1 in Bellator, running a 4-fight win streak. He's a finisher and he's never been finished, which I love. He had that submission win, as you mentioned, over Sullivan Cauley, which just I think aged well. Sullivan Cauley's done pretty good in the PFL. Really long reach. I didn't really see Wilkinson's reach until now, so I didn't realize it was only a 1 inch difference. But Luke Trainer, I guess it just looks longer on his frame, perhaps. He has shown to be dangerous in the pocket. He knocked out his last opponent, or not knocked it down, not out. Knocked down Urbona Vicious with a like a tight hook, like in real close. But he also seems to be good on the outside. He seems pretty great everywhere. It does seem like on the ground and in the wrestling, as you said, is his bread and butter. He has really good back rides. His hooks are so sturdy when he gets them in, and like if you just can't shake him out when he's on the back. Devastating ground and pound. He finds submissions like a hawk. Really, what's not to like? I mean, I kind of agree with you. What's not to like? I definitely like Luke Trainer here. For as long as this lasts, it should be super exciting. For sure. I would say, not sure if you agree on the feet, maybe a Wilkinson power edge and like in
Hmm.
terms of raw power. But the striking defense gets me worried. On the ground, Luke Trainer should have a huge edge. No
Yeah.
matter where it goes, I kind of like Trainer's chances, and even at this number, I like it. I just think he needs to stay safe from the odd big shot from Wilkinson, which he will. I do like Trainer somewhere in LA as a money line play. Excuse me, and I also like the under.
Yeah.
I don't think the under either here. So both plays, I think, will probably make it somewhere on the books for me. Next fight, we have the women's fight on the card. This is Denise Kielholtz versus Antonia Silvanade. Kielholtz minus 150, Silvanade plus 130. For Antonia Silvanade, she is a short-ish notice step up. Kielholtz was originally scheduled to be fighting Dakota Disheva, which is kind of interesting to me. It seems like a surprising opponent to stick in against Disheva, but I guess that's what you got to do to build, right?
Warm body, right?
Yeah, yeah. Silvanade is 9-4. I will say does show some impressive KO power for this division. Has lost all three ways. Definitely less experienced. Definitely fought less impressive competition. This is going to be a big step up, both in terms of who she's fighting and the stage. The stage difference will be huge here. And we've seen some fighters struggle under the lights the first time on a big stage, so wouldn't surprise me here. Power advantage, sure. Definitely less volume, less known, less trustable, less cardio. For Denise Kielholtz, she was originally expecting a much scarier power threat, so this probably seems like a vacation. 8-5, won all three ways, lost by submission decision, never been knocked out, won 3 of her last 5. Certainly more experience, certainly fought higher level comp. I think better cardio, better activity, fairly conventional women's fighter, like kind of fights like a standard women's flyweight you'd see in the UFC, good cardio, good activity, pitter patter on the feet, some cage control, some takedown defense, some takedowns. Pretty standard generalist, I would say. I expect Denise to have the experience to avoid those big shots for 15 minutes. I expect Denise to land often here and to break ahead with volume and activity. I don't see a finish here, but if there was, I think it would be a Silvanade KO. I do expect Denise to take this one fairly easily on the scorecards, probably 30-27. So my prediction would be Denise Kielholtz by decision. The angle I like here, I don't really think the over is worth it. I haven't seen the price, but I'm just not that interested. It may be somewhere if you have some under-over parlay you're making. But more than that, I like Denise Kielholtz money line. At this price, you might as well do it straight. You could do a parlay if you want to get risky, but I like Denise here. What do you think?
Yeah, no, so I'm gonna have to agree. I mean, Denise Kielholtz is a solid kickboxer, right? I think she's Dutch, comes from a kickboxing base. They all could strike. And like you said, never been knocked out, which I think is gonna be key here. Historically, she's only really struggled with people that are just gonna grapple her. I saw her fight Joanne, I believe her name was. She was also on the card with when I talked about in LFA with Pat Downey getting smoked. But yeah, she's quick, like good striking, good jab, right? Good one too, good body kick. Um, and she's lost to pretty solid girls. Like she lost a split back in the day to Juliana Velasquez, who was the former Bellator champ. A lot of people know her. She also lost to what's the Japanese girl? Kiana Watanabe? Is that the name I want to say?
Watanabe.
Watanabe. Okay, yes. Where she was subbed again, but like in a triangle choke, which you don't love to see, but way different matchup. And Antonina, on the other hand, just seems like I literally wrote down poor man's Demisi Gomes. Like, did you not get that vibe? Like, she kind of just runs over the gate. Bro, I think it was her last. Let me pull this up real quick. She literally just, like, barred raw, bro. Oh yeah, the Dutch girl she fought last time, Benita van Hoij. The first like 30 seconds, she almost bonked her, like really bad. And that was like a 6-0 girl, but she recovered, got the finish in the 4th round. But I don't know, man. And then like this Damaris Oliveira was 4-1, but did not look good. Like she got on top and just smashed her. But yeah, like I said, like Pitbull-esque striking. Literally Denise Gomes, like just quite a bit worse with no submission game. Extremely good lead hook, good power. But yeah, I just think Denise is very defensively sound. And again, loses to grapplers, and this is just like a cupcake matchup to her. I do think Kielholtz just keeps it on the outside with the jab and wins the decision.
I have to agree.
Unless she gets forced in a bar brawl, then it gets interesting.
Yeah, you never know, right? You never know. Next fight, we have Amin Ayub versus Makasharib Zainikov. Ayub plus 150, Zainikov minus 175. For Zainikov, he is 18-4, 3-0 in PFL, 3-0 in UAE Warriors. He has won 13 of his last 14. Pretty impressive. He does have a recent grappling loss to Arman Sarukian. He has an older MMA loss to Narulo Aliev, who has shown he's pretty good in the UFC. He wins mostly by decision, loses by decision mostly, does have a KO loss in there as well. A lot of his unanimous decision fights, I noticed, are close. A lot of them. His last one was really close. I think this fight is definitely a step up from his last few. I watched a few. I kind of like skipped through them. I'm not really overly impressed with this game. Um, it's nothing you wouldn't expect. You know, he has some solid striking on the outside, like point striking, but I don't really love the volume. Um, a less than expected takedown game. I watched the Mitchell fight over twice to make sure I wasn't seeing things different, and I don't think Zanikov's takedowns are all that. And if he stays on the feet, I don't really think he's that great. Like he can certainly stay safe and he can certainly get points, but I mean that might be it. He's just kind of one of those cage control pushers. I'm in Ayub. There's a lot to like. I think 24-6-1, 1-0 in the PFL, 1-0 in KSW, riding an 8-fight win streak. Wins all three ways. In my opinion, he's never been finished. Technically, there's one KO on his record, but that's by doctor stoppage. So like, he's never been finished. He's well rounded, I think. Whereas Makasharov didn't really impress me a ton in any aspect. I think Amin kind of like impresses me in every aspect. Good striking, fares well in a brawl. He can really take one and give one, does well that way. Good submission game. When he does get taken down, which does happen, he uses trips and also submission threats on bottom to either threaten or at minimum just get up. Like really good trips from bottom. If he's like someone like over him, like kind of like butterflies them off almost, it's really impressive. Proving cardio. I really like his fight IQ. As mentioned, I have seen him get taken down, but he gets up quickly on the feet. I think he's better here. If it's not clear enough, I am probably going to be playing Ayub here at plus money. I think he's great as an underdog. I think if Zanikov weren't with the team he's with, and also maybe a couple of his decisions went another way, I think it would definitely be flip-flop this line here, so I'd like to take advantage of that. I think he'll be able to handle the takedowns. Like I said, if he does get taken down, Ayub's going to get up. On the feet, he'll probably land the bigger shots. Not probably, he will land the bigger shots. Zanikov could do well on the outside, but I think Ayub can just pressure him, crash the pocket, like he has done time and time again. Once there, his shots are going to do more. He has also shown some crafty submissions as well. I don't like Zanikov's takedowns. They kind of seem labored and half-assed. That's the kind of takedowns that Ayub catches. So definitely on Ayub here, plus money. Love it. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just be transparent. I did not tape this fight as much as I should, but Zanivikov, I am familiar with his last two fights. Like I remember those vividly. And man, to play this guy chalk after that John Mitchell fight is like, no, thank you. And I just wish I wasn't an idiot and skipped this fight taping because I just didn't know it was on the card. But you did a really good breakdown. And then even like he fought Dedrick Sanders, where he fought him close. All these people close. Like I don't know, it's just recipe for disaster. And like you said, Amin's on like a really good run right now. He's been fighting forever. He's only 30. It's crazy with that amount of fights. So like it seems like he's kind of learning on the job. So yeah, I mean, dog shot from what you're saying makes total sense.
Dog shot. I'm with it. Next fight at featherweight, we've got Renat Kavlov versus Edgar Skrivers. This should be a fun one. Though one-sided, should be fun. I do think Skrivers is definitely an entertainer. For Kavlov, he's 10-0, 2-0 in the PFL, 4-0 in Eagle FC. Wins by KO and decision. He has the takedowns and he has the ground game, but it's not really like the predominant part of his game from what I've seen. He seems like he's fallen in love with the striking game. He does have some clinch wrestling as he showed in that recent fight against Fernandez. Great takedown defense, but it seems like he really likes to live on the feet here, which I think makes this a super exciting fight. Edgar Skrivers, he's 17-4. Was 8-1 in the WFCA, the World Full Contact Association. 8-1 though. Did win his last fight by submission. And before that, karate combat fighter since 2018. Big win streak, then a loss streak in karate combat. Super entertaining karate style striker. Spinning kicks, all sorts of karate style kicks, karate style stance, low hands, super, super exciting. And also has a sub game. Also has a takedown game. So definitely an interesting fighter and definitely someone who would be fun to watch in a fight that maybe weren't so one-sided. If you were fighting someone who weren't minus 1200, I'd probably give it a little more mind. Both these guys are entertaining, should be fun, but like I said, Kovalev should take this no matter where it goes. If this were an entertainment competition, I think Skrivers would win, but it's not. This is MMA. Kovalev's more aggressive, more dangerous. So while he might not be the more entertaining of the two, I think he definitely is the better fighter. So I do expect him to win by knockout at some point. But this should be a fun fight. In terms of betting angles, there really is nothing here to take. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I think I just agree. Like I think Renat should be fine here. Like I'm with you. I don't like he's looked dominant enough. I don't think he's like a world beater by any stretch. I think he's 100% going to run into issues when he can't just like you said he's fallen off his hands, but he does have that wrestling in his back pocket. And I think he's going to be in trouble when he has to is forced to fight like a high volume striker, and someone that has got good cardio, but like he hasn't really ran into that. In his last fight, he got that early KO, I think with a knee in the first round, and then you brought up the Fernandez fight also, which he looked good. Like he's beating the guys they're putting in front of him. And I was just looking through. I didn't have much time to tape Eggers, but am familiar with some of his fights. Like I remember I watched the Gabriel Varga fight, who in Karate Combat, who if people don't know who that is, unbelievable kickboxer. Like to have a split decision win over him is even though he's on the older side, it's crazy. Like he's fought solid enough people in striking. He has lost to Song Yadong like way back in the day. Seems like he's been around the block. But yeah, I don't know. You broke it down perfectly. I just don't think his style is great to match up against Renat. So I think he probably gets on his back and has to work hard to get up. And I could see Renat having success on the feet too.
Should be fun regardless, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely don't think Eggers is going to have a good run here. This next fight, bantamweight, our goat Taylor Lapilus minus 305, Kassim Kasimov plus 225. What do you think here?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the line looks a little scary because you're kind of fading a Russian at big chalk, but I mean, Lapilus, if anything, is the worst matchup for a lot of these guys. Dude's takedown defense, as you know, we always talk about him. We have high praise. He should still be in the UFC. It's kind of annoying what they did to my boy. But like the Gittins fight, Gittins is tough, man. Like Liam Gittins is tough, and he was killing him. I actually thought he was going to stop Gittins, which is crazy because that dude's really durable. Ali Taleb never close on any takedowns. These people that try to chain wrestle him, the only one who's really been able to do it recently is Farid Basharat. And that fight was ugly, man. Like he had a really hard time holding Lapilus down. Lapilus is a good striker. Beat up Callan Lothrin when he was 8-0. And it was lined pretty close, which is crazy. I think he was only minus 160 ish. But yeah, pretty elite striker. Doesn't have much pop though. Like I think if Lapilus had legitimate KO power, he'd be very scary at 135. But like he doesn't even need it. Like he outworks guys, gets up, very hard to hold down, very durable. And then Kassim on the other hand, like I look at he's obviously was on a good win, has like wins over Mateus Matos, a split decision win over Josh Hill. But I think his most recent fight where he lost against Justin Witzel, who LFA guy, I believe a lot of people are probably familiar with him, who's big in a grappler. But I don't think Witzel's elite by any stretch. Like I don't think he's a great fighter. And I don't love that loss for someone that's supposedly like a sick grappler or like a Russian like solid striker. I don't think you're taking Lapilus down, man. So I'll probably take Lapilus, but over should probably be fine because Lapilus I don't think has ever been finished, and he's not a big finisher himself. So if it's a better price than the 300, I would probably play that. What about you?
I do agree here. Lapilus, I have written down as my first note, one of the worst UFC cuts in recent memory.
Yes,
I would put my three as Lapilus, Boo, Dai, and Rosie, most likely, in terms of recent memory.
and
Lapilus
Patchy
23.
Mix. No, okay.
And,
I'm
and our
joking.
next Patrick, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Um, Lapilus 23-4, had a 6-2 run in the UFC, 2-0 in PFL, won 10 of his last 11. He does have a loss to Farid Basharat in there. I think that, like I said, you couldn't have said it better. His striking is good, solid volume, definitely no like KO power. At least doesn't like really use it much. Maybe it's because it leaves him open. I do think that like over time his striking has become less and less reserved. I think he has begun to open up in terms of that power more as he's kind of grown into his style. Great wrestling and control, elite takedown defense, good takedowns of his own. I think that maybe he was cut to the UFC due because he just wasn't that exciting. I just think that maybe because he didn't, wow, big pink Dana every fight, he got cut. But there's so much to like against someone who brings that Russian wrestling style. As you said, Kassim Kasimov 16-2, 2-0 in Bellator, 0-1 in PFL, 0-1 in ACA. Did lose that last fight by decision to Justin Wetzel. I unfortunately had to watch that fight on some video where Justin Wetzel was watching it back and talking over it, and like it was one of the most painful watches ever. I had to watch it muted. It was garbage, but I got to watch the fight, which is nice. Kassim Kasimov won 6 in a row prior to that loss. He was won all three ways, mostly by submission. has never been finished himself. I wasn't overly impressed with his resume. He's beat some good fighters by close decision, but no, I don't think anyone really good on on his resume has been beat convincingly. Um, that last fight did not impress me. He got out Dagestani by Justin Wetzel, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't look good here, especially against someone like Lapilus. Lapilus, rightful favorite here for sure. Wealth of experience, great wrestling fundamentals, great takedown defense. Striking game should also give him the edge here if it stays on the feet. In Kasimov's last fight, right? If that happens with Justin Wetzel, what happens here with Taylor Lapilus? I think Taylor Lapilus handles this fairly easily. I was hoping to see him as a smaller favorite just due to the name Kasimov and where this is, but fair enough. I'm still pretty confident he either outstrikes or out wrestles his way to a decision here. The prediction is Taylor Lapilus decision. I, just like you, like the money line somewhere in a parlay. I also like the over as well. So it seems like we are pretty much on the same page here. Next fight, we've got Nurmagomedov minus 2,000 versus Colton England at plus 1,000. This might shock you guys, but what do you got, CJ?
Yeah, so probably Colt. No, I'm joking. Magomedov should be fine here. I think he gets on top. Like, just keep this short. Gets on top and smashes them. He's grappled with better guys. Been striking with better guys. The fight that I was looking at was like 4 fights back. Was the Hanan Oliveira fight? He was 8-0 at the time. Like, good back takes, man. Good body kicks. Like, good jab. And he's a finisher too. Like, he's got 5 submission wins, 2 knockouts, 2 decisions. So a lot to like there. And Colton, on the other hand, just has been KO'd in all 4 of his losses. Again, seems like a guy that, like, I mean, his last run was Carlton minus. The streets will never forget Carlton minus. Not great. And then Robert Dunn, who ugly, horrendous fight for as long as it lasted. Like, it's just not good enough. Not good enough. Like, you never want to play someone minus 2,000, but I just don't really see what his path is unless he like gets some meme or something. Not to mention, I know Manuel Torres is good, but he got folded like a lawn chair by Manuel Torres. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really see his skill set and how it gives Magomedov problems. Like, he is an opportunistic submission guy, and I just don't see it. I think Magomedov chews him apart at range or on the feet, or if he wants to take him down, he can stay safe. So, yep, hot take again. Give me the minus 2,000.
Hot take, I agree. Magomedov undefeated 9-0, 5-0 in UAE Warriors, wins all 3 ways, but mostly by submission, as you mentioned. He has fought some good opponents recently. There's a 24-5 in there. There's an 8-0 in there. Great kicking game. I think he's got really good leg kicks, really hard leg kicks. Solid striking that matches that doggy wrestling style. Undefeated prospect, 6-fight finish streak. You know the drill. He's one of those, but he's a good one of those. Colton England, 15-4. 1-0 in LFA, 0-1 in Contender, as you mentioned, folded by Manuel Torres, who is my boy. Won all 3 ways, mostly by KO and decision. All 4 losses, as you mentioned, by KO. That is rough. KO'd every time he's lost. 6-fight win streak since getting KO'd by Manuel Torres. But that 6-fight win streak has been against much less impressive competition, much, much less than Nurmagomedov. The chin is certainly a concern here. I agree the number makes him absolutely unplayable, but I do expect Amber to win this, and I don't expect it to be close. Amber is he's one of those undefeated doggies. Like I said, you know what's coming, but he does have that striking to back it up. I expect Amber to have the edge everywhere. I expect Amber to find the chin at some point, and at some point early. I would assume round 1, Amber Magomedov round 1 knockout. But as you expect, no betting angle here. There's just nothing. There's no meat on the bone. But what are you gonna do? What are you going to do? Next fight, main card opener. I am excited for this one. Puya Ramani, minus 800, fighting Carl Williams, plus 550. Puya Ramani, he is a 5-0, all wins by finish, which I'd love to see. 1-0 in PFL, 4-0 in ACA. His last win by KO over Slim Trabelsi, who I think is very good. I think he's better than Carl Williams, in my opinion, Slim Trabelsi. He has wins over Hadi Abdelwahab and Denzel Freeman in grappling. Really strong Iranian wrestling foundation. He won. So it's kind of a weird thing here. He didn't win a gold medal in the Olympics. He won a gold medal in an Olympic recognized international beach wrestling tournament, which was later overturned because he popped. So he is a popper. Um, I will say I was impressed to watch a couple of his fights. Surprisingly patient on the feet. Like he doesn't rush, even though he has that rush style when he gets there. He doesn't rush. Good pressure, lethal power, ground and pound, really powerful takedowns, really great timing. In that Rasulov fight, he had a gnarly takedown. Strong chokes when he's on top, strong control. He is fighting Carl Williams, who is 10-4, went 3-1 in the UFC, 1-2 in PFL, 1-0 Contender Series. He has lost his last three fights in a row, though all to high level comp. He lost to Janata Deniz, he lost to Oleg Popov, and he lost to Sergey Bilastiny. Um, Definitely has more experience in terms of opponents he's fought than Romani. Wins mostly by decision, which I don't love at heavyweight. Lost all three ways. His UFC wins, as I mentioned, 3-1 to very low level comp like Lucas Bresky. There's a Tafa brother in there, so like not a competition that wows you by any stretch of the imagination. He was KO'd in his last against Sergey Belostiny. He seems like okay on the feet. It seems like he often just gets wins by like getting takedowns and just laying on top. Like he's not very active. Kind of just like blobs his way to a win. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of decisions and likely why you're seeing him get cut from the UFC when he's 3-1. So my prediction here, surprise, surprise with this line, Puya Romani. I do think he is quite the prospect in my opinion, just very athletic and in a heavyweight sea of blobs. It's just something that alone is a trait to like. Coming off a great KO against Slim Trabelsi, and like I said, I think this is a step down from Slim Trabelsi. Puya as a finisher, he presents danger everywhere. Good striking, good takedowns, good subs. We don't know how high his ceiling is, but I'm certainly sure it's already been proven that it's higher than Carl Williams because of how easily he dispatches Slim Trabelsi. Carl doesn't present a lot of danger. That wrestling that he normally uses to get on top and blob around is not going to work here against Puya Romani, who has certainly superior wrestling. I think Romani wins by finish. I think he wins by finish early. I'm just going to call a round one knockout. No value on the money line. Maybe some value on an under. Maybe just because of the nature of Carl Williams and his experience. So I will have my eye on the under, but can't take a money line here. What do you think?
Yeah, so Carl Williams, like you said, former UFC guy, been on not a great run. Sergey knocked him out in a fight where, like, I didn't think he looked horrible on the feet, but he doesn't pull away, Like, he almost has pillow hands, which is crazy. He's 250, not saying I want to get hit by him, but he's like over 250 pounds, and like he doesn't no KO power, a ton of decisions. Lost a split to Popov, who again is not a bad fighter, but he always fights close Popov. Like people who probably shouldn't be going to decision with him go to decision. But yeah, again, he just like doesn't do enough to pull away. And then Jonathan Denise, which was a weird fight because he didn't use his wrestling to the third round, and then he easily took Denise down. So like a lot of people were saying that the UFC was in his ear, that he should use his wrestling, or if he uses wrestling, he'll be cut. It didn't matter; he got cut anyway, right? So yeah, but again, like it's just he doesn't do anything great. I guess it would be his wrestling, but he doesn't always go to it. And I don't think it's like elite. And then Romani on the other hand, okay, so I had the over in the Slim fight, and this is my let me bear with me. This is my thought process. I just watched the grappling match between them where it was like not low volume because it's not striking, but it like wasn't the craziest pace. I was like, oh, so Huya probably takes him down, sits on his guard again, right? Like the grappling match. Oh no. Caveman smashes the dude in the face. He's on the ground, puts him out cold with the nastiest ground and pound you've ever seen. I was like, Jesus, we just saw this. No, MMA is different. But literally just like a straight and folds him over. And then the rest was just, he was done. But yeah, like you said, like really dominant wrestler. I mean, huge guy, like very physically strong and has good submissions, like high level, solid grappling at heavyweight, has a ton of like rear naked chokes, arm triangles. A guy at heavyweight who puts hooks in automatically is like top 25 in the world. So he's already there because he has a submission win with by rear naked choke. So like, like what does Carl Williams know how to defend hooks? Because no one's ever attempted that at heavyweight. Like Jolton Almeida, who's not a heavyweight. So yeah, I think Romani keeps it standing easily. Like if you think Williams takes this guy down consistently, you're smoking crack. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I think Romani could take him down. And what's Carl Williams look like on his back? So yeah, I think Romani's fine here. I mean, you probably don't love the price because it's minus 800, but under would be his win condition. So I'm gonna have to agree with you. Man, it's so chalky.
Next fight we have not at 265. This is between Jesus
Oh,
Pinedo at plus 110, plus 110 now.
Yeah.
Oh,
We need to
and
get rid of
so
the slide guy, bro. What's going
yeah,
on?
we have this Sly guy that we pay about 25 grand an episode, and
Get
he is
rid of this
definitely going to get fired.
fraud. He
We
thinks
will we will
he's
take
Pat.
care of that off camera, guys.
Yeah, he's
Um,
Patty Pimblett.
yeah, Jesus Pineda at plus 110, Salamat Isbulaev at minus 130. Seems like the secret is out at Pinedo because I saw him at a better price earlier and I was interested. Pinedo 25 7 and 1, Isbulaev 9 and 0. What do you think here?
Yeah, so I mean, our boy, we both love us some Jesus Pineda. We've been on him the whole entire run. Unfortunately, he couldn't get the title. But he popped. Mobley popped. So asterisk next to that one. Not, Pineda's the cleanest guy ever. No enhancements. Doesn't look like he doesn't hit like he's on enhancements. Doesn't have the durability he's on enhancements. So clean athletes. We need more of those. But yeah, all kidding aside, Pineda's our guy. Sucks. We were there in person. He couldn't get the title. But I mean, he rocked Mobley very hard, and he had no like he did not strike a lot of that fight. He kept getting taken down. He got submitted in round 5, but showed pretty good submission defense up until then. And again, Mobley's what 23 and 0. I know he's been rocky, but towards the end of the tournament, he really started to come on. I mean, knocked out Gabriel Braga, which is like unheard of. That dude is legendary, durable, really good Muay Thai striker, and smoked him in a minute 16. KO'd Adam Borix, which is another one. Not many people KO Adam Borix. It just seems like he's got fight-ending power. He's huge for the division. He's really quick. I like his hands too, low kicks. Like I said, very good durability. And just KO'd Bubba Jenkins, who's another former champ. KO'd Brennan Loughnane. Like this guy just hits you and people go down. He's really physically strong in the clinch, like I said. Not the he can get taken down, but will work to get up. But again, like we just saw him struggle with an archetype, kind of a little bit like this. And again, it was 5 rounds. What's his name? Why am I blanking? Isbulaev. Yeah, this dude's a good grappler, good everywhere. But I will say the last fight I couldn't find. It's flagged on Tapology. He got it says a knockout for from side control with elbows. And it's flagged. Did you look into that at all?
I did. It's like flagged for
Legitimacy, right?
yeah, but I'll get into that.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, like, what is there not to like? This dude's got good power himself. He knocked out a 6-0 guy named Muslim Nurmagomedov years ago. Or no, not years ago, 2 years ago. Looked good, like good power. Has good submission game for himself, has all finishes. But I mean, just trying to finish Jesus Pineda is very difficult, I will say. And I think Pinedo, if he could get his wrestling right, at least to stuff the first initial takedown, he's a problem man on the feet. I would not want to strike with him. So we're going back to low with Jesus Pineda for me. What about you?
Agree. In my initial breakdown pre-odds, I'd said I would love to see him at maybe like plus 150. Just given all the details I have, but if I have a plus price tag on him, I'm happy. Jesus Pinedo 25 7 and 1, 1 and 1 in the UFC. Not a great stint there, but 5 and 2 in the PFL. Subbed in his last fight of lead. We watched that live as mentioned after he popped which honestly doesn't even surprise me at this point. 5-fight KO streak prior to the Kai fight. Wins by knockout mostly. Lost all 3 ways, mostly by decision. Clearly, as we all know, most powerful and most dangerous in a brawl. That third fight with Braga, as you mentioned, crazy. In the last fight against Kai spent a lot of time getting takedown and controlled. He didn't show a great ability to get back to the feet either in that fight, which I did not like. Dropped Kai bad in round 2, but he was eventually subbed in round 5. I think that he trusts himself on the feet to be able to take more damage and give more back than his opponent. And with his striking credentials and like the power he has, I think that's a pretty good bet to make. Salamat Isbulaev, 9 and 0, much less experienced than Pinedo, has not fought the same level of competition. He is a finisher, finishes both ways. I did see that the last one was flagged for not hard fought was the flag. I watched it. Seems to me like kind of a bogus flag. He had a guy down and was ground pounding him. I will say the guy gave up from the ground and pound very quickly, like one hard elbow, and he was just like done. Didn't seem like he was like knocked out. He just was done. So maybe that's why. I didn't really look into that too deep. Powerful and very dynamic on the feet. I've seen some very fun technique from Salamat, spinning kicks, double back fists, like a little stocky Nurmagomedov. He has that short, stocky, explosive build, kind of built like Song Yadong. Not 265, but kind of built like Song Yadong. Guys, this fly guy's gonna get it.
I know. What
I
is
will
he
say
doing?
that he did show in that Muslim Nurmagomedov fight, showed good wrestling and control, which could be a problem here. That's like the could be a problem. Um, but he potentially could be the goods, maybe, but we're yet to see him against a step up, which would be this, and this is a big step up, a faster step up than I think a fighter should get all at once. Um, if you like Isbulaev, you either think that his striking is proven enough, which again, it looked great against lesser comp. You either think his striking is good enough, or you think he can go for the takedowns the same way Khabibulaev it did. In either way, like that to me doesn't feel like a minus 130 gamble. Um, I think that I've always been a Pinedo guy. That on the feet power it will probably be the difference here. I trust his chin. He trusts his hands. He's willing to take a shot to land a bomb, as mentioned. The wrestling does worry me. It does a little bit. Salamon's looked impressive on the feet, but he's given up almost half a foot of height here. Certainly some reach as well because he does have short arms. So if we're looking at Jesus Pinedo at an underdog price, I'm interested. I think we're going to see a late knockout by Jesus Pinedo. I do not mind the under 2.5. I love the money line. If you can catch that at plus money, get in on it while you can. I'm into it. Next fight we have at welterweight 170. This is Abduragimov is what we're gonna call him. Abduragimov, the Lazy King. We're
Yep,
gonna go
yep. That's what I was gonna say.
versus Kenley St. Louis, the Lazy King. He is 19-1-0, 3-0 in PFL, 4-0 in Aries, 5-1 in Brave, on a 9-fight win streak. His one loss is by retirement at the end of round 3. Lazy. I do believe Lazy King is because of his fighting style. He fights in a way that conserves his energy very well. Only makes the movements he has to, no wasted movements. Hence the Lazy King, or maybe the retirement loss. Wins mostly by submission, loses by knockout. Good pressure on the feet with that kind of like lazy style, just kind of like always inching his way forward. Great takedowns, super fast to the back, and that's a Staropoli fight in round 1. He got to the back so fast. He has great control. He finds submissions super fluently from those dominant ground positions he gets from his takedowns. I think in terms of where he is most vulnerable, I think it's on the feet. I think if you can keep it on the feet, that's the best path to victory. I don't think that he presents a huge striking threat. Like he has no standing KOs. So if you can keep it standing, that's where you're going to have the most success. Kenley St. Louis plus 240. He's 11-5, 3-1 in PFL, 4-0 in CFFC, which I do like. KO'd in his last fight against Chris Mixon. Wins all 3 ways, mostly by submission. Loses by KO decision. He has never been subbed, which is kind of an interesting point to go into this matchup with. Pretty solid all around. Sort of like a generalist in my opinion. He can strike. He has power. He can wrestle. Definitely has submissions, which is probably the high point of his game, but I do think of him as somewhat of a generalist. I think he's most vulnerable defensively on the feet. He's been KO'd several times. He was caught several times in that fight with Mixon. I don't think Kenley has dealt with this kind of wrestling threat, this educated of a wrestling threat, and this strong of a wrestling threat. So while I do think Lazy King is fairly one-dimensional, I think that one dimension is really good. I don't think there's much of a feet threat, a striking threat, but he's so systematic on the ground. To beat Lazy King, you have to be able to stay standing. I think Kenley has the edge on the feet, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep it standing. I'd see him maybe shucking a couple takedowns, but he's not going to shuck enough. I think Abduragimov probably gets the sub at some point, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. So definitely like Abduragimov. I'm not sure if I can get to the money line here, though I do like it. I just kind of don't like parlaying guys with beards and no mustaches. Oh, no, he has a mustache. Maybe I can. I might be able to put it in my parlay. There's a chance, but I do like Abdul here. What do you think?
Yeah, so honestly, when I like because Lazy King has a ton of hype on him. I thought he was gonna be a bigger favorite here, and I was like maybe St. Louis has like a dog shot if he's like in the fives or something crazy, because like this like you said the Strapoli fight he looked good or yeah Strapoli fight he looked good. He got the back right smooth like very good grappler, good submissions. I remember I had money on Jack Grant at like plus 475 ish, and I thought he won that fight. Like he kind of went into cardiac arrest going for the takedowns, like when he retired in between rounds against the dude years ago that you brought up. He definitely can get tired if you make him work, but is St. Louis the type of guy that will make him work? I don't know. Like you said like good grappling from St. Louis, but I don't think it's like elite, you know. And like Lazy King's there, like good, has a ton of submissions. Like his back takes are unbelievable. You probably lose the round if he gets hooks in, you know, if he gets the body triangle in, which I don't love for St. Louis. And also, I don't love. I know it's a way different matchup, but I don't think Chris Mixon's great at fighting. And I think I had St. Louis bet in that fight. Just think he takes him down. He getting knocked out was not a great look. And then the fight before he subbed Berkimov, but again, Berkimov has looked kind of shot ever since the Thad Gene fight. So like, how much stocks he put in there? Like, solid win, a good submission win. But like, is he gonna just catch this guy in a sub? I don't know. So for that reason, because I thought the line would be a lot wider, I'm probably not gonna play St. Louis. But I don't know. It's hard. I don't even know about an over under. Did you say you like the over or?
If this line was wider, I'll be more interested in some angle here. Surprisingly, this is one of the ones where I kind of wish it was a little wider because I kind of
Yeah,
like the outside if it was. But I just can't bet the chalk on a guy who needs the takedowns, who
yeah.
needs.
Against the guy
So,
who's never been subbed.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. It's a stay away from me, but Lazy King probably wins.
So
Oh,
this is the fight, folks. This is the
oh,
fight. I already know that me and CJ feel the same
yeah,
about a certain fight here, so I'm going to give you the floor, sir. How
yeah.
about
Okay, so I mean, like I said, probably the highest level fight that I can think of any fight that's booked. I mean, the UFC probably could top it with like Peter Yan fighting somebody or something like that. But man, Shamil. Like, what can you say about this guy? This dude is actually unbelievable. Knocked out Magomed Aluma. How do you say his name?
Umalatov?
Umalatov. Yeah. Who's one of Khabib's boys? Like nasty hook. And I sent you a clip earlier when I was watching tape. That like takedown defense when he had the full body lock into a switch instantly getting the back is crazy. This guy is elite everywhere. He's an unbelievable striker, has unbelievable KO power, has knocked out a bunch of Russians back to back, like Magomed, Murad twice, Murad the first time, then a decision where Murad just took a beating in the second fight. Logan's when he sprawled on Logan Storley in the first round, I was like, oh no. Hopefully Logan Storley has like his estate papers filled out because he's gonna die. And yes, he did. He literally face planted. Nasty KO. Good KO against I think it was 5 fights ago. The Russian Alexei. I'm blanking on the last name, but it was before he got into the PFL. Good KO. Has a ton of wins over undefeated fighters on the regionals. Like I said, good kicks, good power, good cardio, which is like crazy to think about for a guy who could just shut the lights off and throws a ton of heat. Will offensively wrestle himself, like I said. Like he was able to take Storley down, was able to grapple Storley, which is like unheard of. And then Ramazan on the other side is good. Like beat Jason Jackson in his last fight, but I don't know. Jackson had moments like I believe that fight was relatively close on the scorecard, right? Unless I'm tripping and confusing it with another fight.
Jackson won at least a round, probably
Yeah,
two.
yeah. I thought he won 2 rounds. Like I watched that fight at the beginning of the week and it was relatively close. He subbed Bubba Wallace, but yeah, but like, what do you put into that? None of these guys are. Maybe Jason Jackson's a really good win. Like, don't get me wrong, good fighter, but he doesn't have the finishing ability of Shamil. He doesn't have the kicking game of Shamil. Um, yeah, I beat John Howard, who's like 29-17 by decision in Eagle FC. Has a ton of like fought in the Middle East, UAE. I don't know. I think he needs takedowns here. I don't think many people in the division could strike with Shamil, if anybody in the PFL. Maybe no one in the UFC also. It gets very interesting. Um, so yeah, I think he needs takedowns here. Obviously, the line is pretty crazy because it's against another undefeated Russian, but this is nothing new for him. He just finishes these guys. So yeah, my favorite fighter outside the UFC, I would say. I think the best fighter outside the UFC, and would not like that fraud patchy mix. This guy would easily be top three in the welterweight division, and it's not even close. Um, I love you, Patchy, but that was very sad. But yeah, Shamil all day. I think he gets the finish.
I agree. As we both know, Nurmagomedov, 13-0, won all three ways, mostly submission and decision. 3-0 Bellator, 1-0 PFL, 1-0 on Contender Series. He had a split decision that did not lead to a contract. Last fought in 2024, so it's been off for a while. As you mentioned, beat Jason Jackson by decision. He seems like he's confident striking on the front foot. He seems like he has good inside leg kicks. Taken down and control. He took down and controlled Jackson for all of round one. He outstruck Jackson 2 and 3. He was taken down and controlled by Jackson in four, which makes me think that his defensive wrestling and like ground game is not as good as his offensive because once he was taken down by Jackson, he stayed down. Reliable cardio. He did go 5 rounds to Jason Jackson, which in a cardio sense makes me like what he has to offer, but in this matchup, that will not matter. Shamil Musayev, 20-0-1. Draw to Michal Pietrzak. Didn't really look into that, but who cares? 3-0-1 in KSW, 4-0 in PFL. This guy, 5 fight win streak, 4 out of those 5 by knockout. Won all 3 ways, but mostly by knockout. We have both been high on this guy for a while. I think that he is certainly the best welterweight in the world outside the UFC. I think that I think if he came into the UFC, he would fit right in with the top 5, certainly with the top 10. I think probably the top 5. He's a patient and precise striker with great power, great distance management, takedowns of his own, insane takedown defense. He evolved his game in that scene, in that part of the world. Great takedown defense. Filthy reversals like that clip you mentioned with Umalatov. Crazy reversals. I think Shamil will beat any welterweight outside the UFC, most welterweights inside the UFC. Sizable edge on the feet here, speed edge, precision edge, power edge. Nurmagomedov is an impressive wrestler, but I think Shamil has a takedown defense to neutralize enough of those takedowns that come his way. On the feet, this is all Musayev, and there's no way Ramazan gets past that. I think a round 2 knockout is coming. I like the money line at minus 400. It starts to get with like, I mean, Musayev is going to win period, but like how much value will it really add to your parlay? So if you stick it in, make it soon because I expect that number to be past minus 500 by fight time. So definitely get in on that. And that brings us to our main event at 155 pounds. This is Usman Nurmagomedov minus 2,000 versus Alfie Davis at plus 1,000. Usman Nurmagomedov 20-0, 7-0 in Bellator. He has won no contest due to a drug pop. Interesting, that's not on the record. They hide that from you. 2-0 in PFL. He wins all 3 ways. He has 2 recent PFL wins against Paul Hughes. He's great at kicking range. He kind of reminds me of Umar, his brother, in terms of style. Very similar striking style. Strong in the clinch. Has that Dagestani takedown and control, rides the back well. One of the best from that part of the world. So you know the deal. Alfie Davis, 25-1, 8-1-1 in Bellator, 3-1 in PFL. Wins all 3 ways, mostly by decision. Loses mostly by decision. He does have 1 submission loss. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Won 6 of his last 7. He did just win the PFL lightweight tournament. He beat Gadzi Rabadanov by a questionable decision. And I do have a theory on why that I've shared with CJ.
Yes.
If Gadzi wins that fight, the fight between Gadzi and Usman doesn't make as much sense. 2 guys, same part of the world, same team. Close decision. They give it to Alfie. Then they now have this next fight to feed Usman his next win. So that's just how I felt for a long time about it. I'm kind of ashamed I didn't see it in the moment. But what do you know? So Alfie, I will say, dynamic and powerful kicks, definitely most comfortable at kicking range. But I just don't think I don't think it stays at kicking range here. He did show some gaps in his takedown defense against Rabadanov in rounds 2, 4, and 5. If Gadzi really did lose, it's just because he was too comfortable hanging out in kicking range and he didn't enforce his own game plan early and often enough, which I don't think is an issue here. This is Usman Nurmagomedov we're talking here. I think Usman wins this fight. Alfie did win his last as large underdog against a similar fighter from the same team. But like I said, in that fight, Gadzi, I just don't think had the right game plan. Usman, I expect him to have the right game plan. I expect him to utilize his wrestling more often. I think Gadzi's striking style, from what I've seen, is most dangerous in the pocket. And I think Usman is better at that kicking range that Alfie is most comfortable in as well. So this will be kind of a better striking style from Usman to counter that striking of Alfie than Gadzi, just because of the nature of where he likes to fight from. So not only will he have an edge on the ground, but he'll have a style that at least will match him up to Alfie. But I think he'll have the edge on the feet too, to be honest with you. So I would take Usman Nurmagomedov. I think it's likely he gets the finish, but I don't think why would you pick that at even this number? So don't even play that gambling game. There's no value here. But Usman wins. What do you think?
Yeah, no, so I'm gonna have to agree. I think with this fight, like obviously you don't want to touch the money line. Do you think he finishes him in the first 7.5 minutes or up? Like I kind of go back and forth. Davis is durable, but man, this is the best fighter he's fought by a landslide, pretty much. Like you brought up the Godzi fight. Godzi literally did the world's worst game plan and fought the best, fought to the strengths of Alfie Davis, and still probably should have won, like you said. Um, which Usman's better than Godzi everywhere. I think it's fair to say, especially in the striking where he struggled at kicking range. He has a win over Brett Primus. Brett Primus is like 40 million years old with 100 miles on the tank. And even then, he had moments getting takedowns and grappling. Knocked out Clay Collard, which is like a dope win, don't get me wrong, but he was kind of getting cooked, and then he landed that spinning elbow, which was crazy. And the fight I go back to, I mean, I love Monsar Barnui. Like, all the hardcores know of that guy. Great grappler, huge for the division. But, like, he got the back and subbed him. Like, what is Usman going to do when he gets the back or gets a takedown, you know? Two wins over Paul Hughes. I do think Hughes won the first fight. But again, really close fight. And even if he did lose to Paul Hughes, he should still be minus 2,000 here. Hughes is special also. Beat Alexander Shabley, who's underrated. Head kicked Benson Henderson like a club and sub, nasty. Beat Patricky Pitbull, Chris Gonzalez, like good wins, man. This guy's just been super dominant. So yeah, I just think I don't really know how Alfie Davis wins. He's got to clip him with something, which I just don't see.
I would agree. Seems like we are pretty much on the same page for every single fight here. I did quickly compile my list of my favorite plays, so I'm going to list them here as an overview of the card. I imagine I'll have everything you have as well as your favorites, so if I miss anything, please let me know. My favorites from top to bottom, just to highlight, Shamil, if you can take him at that number, Pinedo, Lapalus, and the over. Min Ayub at plus money, Denise Kielholtz as a close favorite, and then Luke Trainer in the under in that fight. Those would be my picks I would kind of extract from this card. Would anything else I left out that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, so I pretty much agree. I think Shamil should be fine again. Like great matchup. I'm definitely gonna bet Pinedo as a dog. I think the Romani under, depending on the price, it might be playable just because Carl Williams is a decision guy. Even though Romani's a big favorite, I don't see him getting finished early. So pretty much that's all the win equity there. And then I love Luke Trainer, man. I know like Wilkinson's a dangerous striker. I just don't think Trainer gives you that. You know, he grapples. So give me Luke Trainer also, who's not a horrible line. Like minus 230, it seems like he's going down. Good parlay piece.
This should be a good card. It is also a nice time to watch it. Gives us all an excuse to day drink. So if you're watching this card, enjoy. If you are betting, good luck.
Yes.
For everyone who's still watching, we appreciate your support, and we will catch you guys next time.